Okay, I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, visible.
Okay, so welcome all to the day 2 of Dopamine Detox. And we are going to start this chapter, the new chapter, part 1. So we have discussed about the introduction and what are the 6 parts and their content yesterday. And today we are going to start the first part. And the title is Dopamine and the role it plays. Dopamine and the role it plays. You have probably heard about dopamine before and have at least a vague idea of what it is. In this section, we will briefly define dopamine and describe the role it plays. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter. Let's remember it's a good one. Neurotransmitter, un which makes us anticipate rewards such as having sexual relationship or eating nourishing food. These are the rewards that gives a signal to the brain. Dopamine gives us the desire to take action. This is very important. If someone is not getting the desire to take action, then also it is due to lack of dopamine. The desire to take action to earn the exciting rewards that's waiting for us. It is the force that makes us act. It is the force that makes us act. As such, it is very useful neurotransmitter that has helped us survive and reproduce, and probably one of the main reason you and I exist today. Contrary to what many people believe, dopamine is not a pleasure chemical. Dopamine is not a pleasure chemical simply because an event triggers the release of dopamine. Dopamine does not mean it is something we like or we get pleasure from. In fact, when you pay close attention, you will notice that as soon as you obtain the expected reward, you will often feel empty and unfulfilled. That happens actually, right? So after the reward is achieved, many a times if it is a material reward or material accomplishment, that is short-lived. The feeling of empty and unfulfillment might or mostly kind of accompany. The truth is that no amount of stimulations will ever bring you the sense of fulfillment you are seeking. Yet many of us are constantly overstimulated, looking for the next source that could trigger a release of dopamine. And this is the trap. If we are overstimulated and looking for a trigger to release the dopamine, then it is not a good place that we are in. It seems as though we always want more and are never satisfied. And the more we seek stimulation, the worse it becomes. Now look at your own life. What are you addicted to? What do you crave? What are your main source of stimulation? Do these things really make you happy? As you consider these questions, you will probably notice that you are addicted to highly stimulating activities such as watching video games, immersing yourself in social media, or reading emails. When you undertake these activities, you start losing self-control. Very important thing to remain aware. The more we indulge in these activities, the more we lose the self-control. That means willpower we cannot exert. And you want more and more stimulation. And even though they may not give you any real pleasure or lasting fulfillment, you keep doing them. After all, you need the next hit of dopamine, don't you? Under such a state of stimulation, Any task that requires concentration becomes much harder to perform. That is why the attention span also is decreasing as the years are passing by. As a result, you will procrastinate. You delay writing that book you have always planned. You put off starting that new venture, or you will postpone that key project you are in charge of. To sum up, from an evolutionary perspective, dopamine's role is to encourage you to act to earn the anticipated reward needed for your survival or reproduction. This is dopamine's primary role. Unfortunately, in today's world, the process has been hijacked, which leads to many unintended consequences, as we will see in the next section. The good part is this book is just having 51 pages and we can easily complete with some action steps and very key takeaways. So the action steps are: using your action guide, answer the following questions. What are you addicted to? Is the first question. What are your main source of stimulation? Second question. Do they really make you happy? So if you want, please take a screenshot and let's discuss, or let's at least introspect just after this call, because if you don't do it, then it might actually remain unattended forever. What are you addicted to? So it could be one or more. Ideally, I would say to reflect deep and find all the addictions which are not useful. Otherwise, we are addicted to even food, like the rice and the people who are habituated to eat rice, they are addicted to rice. People who are addicted or having a habit of the chapati and whatever the other form of staple food, even that is also kind of addiction.
Vikash can't hear you.
Hello. Sorry,
Yes, yes,
actually.
now audible.
Okay, sorry. Actually, the power went. So I was just talking and I saw that it's already been kind of. So where we here in action steps?
Yes, you had repeated these questions.
I've already repeated, right? Okay. So today we will take the opportunity to go through these questions on our own, and whatever answers we are finding, we will keep that in mind, and maybe we will address those addictions for sure by end of this book. Now the part 2 comes. The problem. Previously, we have seen how dopamine plays an important role from an evolutionary standpoint. In this section, we will see why this neurotransmitter has been hijacked, and second is, and what you can do to guard yourself against the dopamine traps that we are facing in today's society. So the first section is the neurotransmitter of more. We are wanting more and more and more, molecule of more. So dopamine is also called as molecule of more. And if we know how to guide this properly, then it is a good thing actually, molecule of more. So we can actually utilize this to induce more affection in the area where our goal is lying, or what we really want to achieve in a long term. For that, what short-term actions are required, if we know, then definitely we can use this dopamine as an inducer or a kind of a catalyst. So the author is saying you can think of dopamine as the molecule of more. This is because the more our environment or actions trigger the release of dopamine, the more we will want our next shot of dopamine. In fact, this reinforcement mechanism is also how many addictions work. This self-reinforcing mechanism. Okay. By continuously triggering the release of dopamine through different means such as drug or alcohol consumption, addicts actually strengthen their tolerance to such stimulations. As a result, they need stronger and stronger stimulus to experience the same sensation of pleasure. That is a trap, actually. This is a bigger trap. Just like in medicines, also, if few people are addicted and taking for every small disease, they will end up that medicine dose need to increase, otherwise that will not work. Similarly, here also the same case. However, addictions are not just limited to drug or alcohol consumption. In truth, many activities can become somewhat addictive. For example, gambling, sex, shopping, thoughts, rumination, video games, exercise to extreme, and work. Anything extreme is not good, even exercise for that matter. Work, being a workaholic is also no use or kind of no use. Kind of that's also a kind of addiction. What about you? Are you currently addicted to anything? If you cannot spend a day without engaging in a certain activity, it means you are probably a little addicted to it. Fortunately, as we will see later, there are ways to limit the amount of stimulation we are exposed to each day. And as we reduce our exposure to stimulating activities, we will naturally increase our focus and boost our productivity levels. This is the intention for which we are reading the book. The focus needs to increase, the attention span needs to increase, and our productivity level also need to increase. Now, let's see. Now, let's see how your dopamine neurotransmitter is being hijacked in today's world. More importantly, let's see the specific things you can do to regain control. So, from here, we will continue tomorrow. Now, I would encourage all of you, please share at least one or 2 points that clicked you the most from today's reading, or whatever you want to share in this particular topic. A short and crisp sharing.
Yes, Vikashi. Uh, Actually, dopamine, I also, what I knew about it, that it is a happy hormone. But here in the book, it is said that it's not happy hormone. Rather, it's the neurotransmitter that is desire to take action to earn the reward. So it's a molecule of more, and if we focus it, or if we focus this dopamine, then we can get the desired results instead of just getting more and more stimulation in irrelevant activities.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not a pleasure chemical basically.
yes.
Yeah, thank you. Anyone else? Pinakiji, Milanji, anything from your end?
See, a
So because
neurotransmitter is
yeah,
also a hormone.
Sorry.
I'm saying neurotransmitter is also a hormone. It is the other name of a hormone.
Right.
So it's not that dopamine is a neurotransmitter, it's not a hormone. It is a happy hormone. See, there are four hormones are which synchronizes our body with happiness. और उसको बोलते हैं डोज DOAC डोज
Yeah.
and डोज का
Dopamine is the
सबसे
first one.
first one is the dopamine which is it starts with D,
Yeah.
followed
Serotonin.
by O which is oxytocin,
Yeah.
followed by S which is serotonin, and followed by E which is endorphins.
Right. Exactly. This is a very interesting topic actually. We should actually discuss
So
on this.
the author is talking about dopamine detox, and yeah, there is another form of toxins as well. जिसको हम बोलते हैं toxic positive. Probably you are hearing it for the first time. So toxic positive is all about when you are under the control of toxic thoughts, toxic situations. Primarily toxic thoughts only. Your situations are not toxic. Only your thoughts are toxic. And what this book is talking about is how to uh, let me put it this way: how to activate dopamine so that instead of you like you focusing on getting happy, what you are doing, you're triggering डोपामिन टू क्रिएट हैप्पीनेस जिसको हम बोलते हैं साइकोलॉजी से फिजियोलॉजी को इम्पैक्ट ना करके उल्टा कर रहे हैं फिजियोलॉजी से साइकोलॉजी को इम्पैक्ट कर रहे हैं सो fundamentally this is what this book is talking about so that's why these all these action steps are there and action steps are like you take these actions and when you take these actions naturally dopamine will be secreted inside your body and when this dopamine is there chances are very high that it will reduce the impact of cortisol, which normally secretes
Stress
throughout our
hormone.
body when we are under stress.
Yeah.
है ना?
Right.
So the game is all about playing with the happiness quotient. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Pinagiji. Milinji, you want to share something? And I think Sivaniji joined little late, but still, you're also most welcome to share anything on this particular topic if you want.
yeah, because the three questions which we decided to introspect, those three questions are key for me. Definitely, it mentioned the molecule of more dopamine. Uh, like what are the stimulation, what is the addiction, and what's really make you happy. So I'll take example of a cigarette smoking. The other day my neighbor was he was discussing that he was so addicted. Yes, he is addicted to cigarette, but the way he is explaining that actually gave me the clear example. Even on the cigarette carton, there is a huge photograph of that cancer patients and all that, but still mind overrides that information and still people use cigarette as a stimulation. So that is I don't smoke, but that is a very strong example for me to just to understand how this thing works, the pattern in this thing works, and just need to apply that into positively into your life. Definitely author has given different ways we use to stimulate ourselves, but it is as everywhere people talk about this pleasure hormone, happy hormone, and all that. They use different methods to stimulate this thing to feel happy. But if you see the cigarette smoking, yes, it gives the instant pleasure, no doubt about it. But at the end, they feel so. Those people are so lonely, so empty with the energy, etc. So yes, this shortcut versions are available in the market in the both way. People use, say, for example, exercise as overstimulation. People use different methods to stimulate themselves just to get this new term nowadays, last 3 4 years, happy hormones. But the downside of it, they are not understanding is this the feeling empty at the end of it. That means there is this downturn, and once they are at the bottom, again they want some kind of stimulation. So they are actually dependent on external themes, whereas our focus is not at all depend on any of the external themes, but to take the positive out of this particular book. How to detox this dopamine thing. Yes, it is a natural thing. It is a God blessing to us that it gives all these hormones. But instead of we playing with game, just be positive and do our stuff, with complete satisfaction, which actually comes from spirituality. I'm little diversing the topic, but yes, I think that is the key what we discuss here. You know, attached to your positive practices, what you do every day, instead of playing with nature. Thank you.
And definitely, there are a lot of other positive activities, which also induces the dopamine. Now, I want to just have one thing particularly I want to mention here, like you and Sumanji has mentioned that happy hormone. If you're using it for this context of what addiction you want to get rid of, then better to use the word pleasure hormone. Happiness is a positive term, which actually won't be a short-lived activity. So pleasure is something which makes us feel empty or kind of. Here actually the author has also used. See, here he is saying pleasure chemical, not happy chemical or happy hormone. So feeling of empty and unfulfillment comes from the pleasure chemical. Not exactly from the pleasure chemical, but from the activity that people do just to stimulate and get more dopamine or neurotransmitters. Dopamine as a neurotransmitter. So we will I believe it would be definitely addressed in coming chapters, wherein actually we will have enough understanding of what other positive activities we can do to increase our dopamine. Because anything, if you want to remove, it is not that easy. But if you want to replace that particular thing with a better activity, then that is easy. So it is always in spirituality also I have seen that there are many methods which focuses this particular way, wherein you need to just replace with a higher taste. Once you get the higher taste, automatically the lower taste or the actions associated with the lower taste will subside. Yeah, great.
Rightly said, because see, once we taste the higher taste, the lower doesn't excites us anymore. That's so true in all aspects of life.
Very true.
And I haven't read from this book, but yeah, have heard that this is a wonderful book. So, as per my understanding, there are 4 chemicals that are released. That is dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and the other one is this
Endorphin.
one, cortisol.
Endorphin.
Cortisol, the stress hormone. So dopamine is that generates a happy feeling within us, and yes, what gives us pleasure definitely enhances our what gives us happy ultimate happiness. It enhances our dopamine level, but most people are stuck in the instant gratification, which we call the pleasure hormone over here in the book. It is mentioned, right?
Right.
So yet
Here
to
in this
read the
book,
book.
actually, the author is saying that people say that dopamine is a pleasure chemical, but it is not a pleasure chemical. Simply
Yeah.
because an event triggers the release of dopamine does not mean it is something we like or get pleasure from. Dopamine is not giving the pleasure to us. The activity that
Yeah,
we do,
activity is giving the pleasure,
yeah,
right?
right.
And it when pleasure feelings are there, then the dopamine gets activated when
Yeah,
we
right.
find happiness in doing something,
Yes.
right?
For me, the key takeaway or the word which
And
I like.
one more chemical that is called melatonin, which is secreted when we are in sleep mode.
That
So
is
that
serotonin.
is most which one?
Melatonin also. I
Melatonin,
think
yeah. So that
melatonin.
is more important for all of us.
Yeah, more important. I would say all the chemicals are important because see, dopamine is
Yeah, a
molecule of
balance of
more
all.
balance. Yeah, molecule of more. So if we
Hmm.
know how to trigger or how to induce this dopamine and channelize in the right way, then we get the desire to act. If we do not have the dopamine flow,
Right.
then we also lose the interest to work.
Desires
Any
get
action.
get reduced when the dopamine level reduces.
Yeah.
Very
So we need to understand and we need to just channelize it rightly, and then we are unstoppable. Right.
Thank you for taking this one.
Thank
We'll
you.
give
Thank
it a
you.
read.
Yeah. So thank you all. Have a great day ahead, and see you again tomorrow.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.